A number of you have indicated that you had difficulty dealing with the transformations of graphs, which is in lesson 1.2. So I thought I would create this little short video to try to help you review that using some of the questions from the homework lesson in Knewton, which again is lesson 1.2. And so this is the first question that kind of comes up, or one similar to this. It says, given the graph of f of x, which is shown as the red dashed curve, drag the movable blue point to obtain the graph of f of x plus 3 minus 4. Well, the first thing I do before I even start thinking about anything, I'm going to move this blue curve so that it matches the red curve, because that's going to be my starting point. And then I want to kind of go off to the side for a minute and think about this curve. Okay, so we have f of x plus 3 minus 4. And guys, it ultimately is all about the location of these constants. In this case, the plus 3. Notice that it's inside the parentheses. And so this is in that form, f of x minus h plus k. Well, the h tells me, again, when it's inside that parenthesis or the grouping symbol, that gives me a horizontal shift. Now, again, you might be able to get familiar with that if you think about the fact that, oh, okay, horizontal, you got the h here, and so h and horizontal start with this, h and h is the first letter of horizontal. And so then I need to think about it. Is it going to be left or right? Because the horizontal shift is where I'm going to go either left or right. Okay, so I'm going to go left. Whoops. To get over here where I can write left or right. Okay, and so if I take that piece, x plus 3, and I set it equal to 0, and I solve for x by subtracting 3 from either side, I end up with x equals negative 3. Because it is negative, I know then that I'm going to be going to the left. Okay, so this tells me, because it's negative 3, tells me that I'm ultimately going to go left 3 units. Okay, then if I go back and I think about the plus 4, or excuse me, in this case, the minus 4. Okay, go back over here and we're going to think about this minus 4. Okay, the minus 4 is after or outside those parentheses. And when it's outside, kind of tagged at the end that way, that is an indication that we have a vertical shift or a vertical translation. And I'm either going to go up or I'm going to go down. In this case, it depends upon the sign, and the sign here is minus. And because it's minus, we're going to go down. Okay, so I need to go down 4 units. So I've got to take that original graph, the original dashed line, and I need to move it left 3 and down 4. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4 down. Now, because there's no number in front of the function, nor number in front of the x, it's not stretched or compressed. So that should be the answer. Okay, so if we want to check ourselves, remember, we go over here and we submit. Okay, it tells me that I'm correct. And then I'm going to move on to the next question. Okay, I got a little off there. My mouse is not cooperating. Okay, so we're going to scroll down and tell it that we want to continue. Okay, with this one, it says, given the graph of y equals f of x, shown as the red dashed curve, drag the green movable points to draw the graph of y equals the negative x. It says, hence, select a point on the x-axis when graphing your answer. Okay, so again, the first thing I want to do is I'm going to kind of drag the green one over here, and I'm going to get it on top of the red so that it hides the red one. Maybe. There we go. Okay. And so let's think about, I'm going to go back over here and let's think about what's happening here when you have f of, or the opposite of f of x. Okay. So we now have the function f, the opposite of f of x. Okay, this is outside the parentheses. This would be like having a times f of x minus h plus k. And sometimes you even have a b in there. Okay, but in this case, I don't have an h, I don't have a k, and there's not anything in front of the x or b. So all I really have here, I got to think about it, a is -1. The fact that it's negative is the indication that I'm going to have a reflection. Okay, and I have a dumb little saying that kind of helps you remember which direction to reflect. Okay, so this is a, so a, you reflect on the x and you get the ax, ax. If the b is negative, you reflect on the y and you get by. Okay, yes, I realize it's kind of stupid, but maybe that will help you remember when you're supposed to reflect on the x and when you're supposed to reflect on the y. Okay, the other thing I want you to think about as we're thinking about this and reflecting, remember that in terms of that reflection, you have the vertical axis, which is the y, and the horizontal axis is like the x. Okay, so in this case, you're going to be reflecting across that x-axis, which is the horizontal. So think about sort of like you're going to be reflecting it, wrapping around this, okay, sort of like you're doing a water wheel. You're going around and around and around and around and around. Okay, so that's all really we have to do here. So if I'm looking at my graph, okay, and I want to reflect it on the x-axis, my point is here. When I rotate it around, it's going to be down right straight below it. And then again, I have to turn this one up. Okay, and I'm at -5, -5. So I'm going to go -5. Or excuse me, I'm not -5. I was down at -5 and I was at about 1.5. Okay, so I'm pretty close. Let's see if we can pick us another point. Let's see. I'm at yeah, that looks pretty good. I have, if we look at this point here, we're at -2, -3. So -2, maybe we should come out just a tad more. Just a tad. Whoops, went too far. Let's kind of hard to do with just a hand mouse. Okay, I'm kind of close. It wants to jump on me. Okay, let's see if it'll take it that way. I'm pretty close. I'm a little bit off on one of my points, so it may not take it. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, because I need to have this point that's at -2, -3 needs to be at +2, +3. And so I need this point to kind of come over just a little bit, which requires me to move. Okay, and it is not cooperating. Mouse is so sensitive, you have to kind of play with it. And that's the kind of the hard part, I guess, is getting it to... There we go. Oh, it still didn't like me. Okay. Well, we got it in the basic shape. I think a lot of it here in this particular scenario, it makes it difficult because of the mouse issue. Okay, so I just didn't get my points lined up as well as they want you to, but you get the idea, hopefully. Okay, that's probably the same issue you're having, is knowing how to flip it and all that kind of stuff because of all of those crazy symbols. Okay, so now we've got the green dashed line and the green draggable. Okay, so I'm going to get it set up like the original, hopefully. Okay, and then let's look at the equation that we have. Okay, so I'm going to look at the equation, which is f of -x plus 4 minus 5. So let's go back over here to my sheet where we can have some space to write. We have f of, let's see, we have f of -x plus 4 minus 5. Okay, let me double check, make sure I wrote down the right thing. Okay, -x plus 4 minus 5. Okay, so we got to think about all these different things here going on. Again, if you think about it, you have, in this context, I have f of bx minus h plus k. And it really doesn't, there is some order to how you should do the transformations, but just listing them out, there's not really any specific way you have to list them. So if I start with this minus 5, that's at the end of my function, okay, kind of tagged as an afterthought, okay, the minus 5. Okay, remember that value that's tagged at the end tells me the vertical translation. So it's going to have me go down 5 units. Okay, then inside the parentheses, I have the plus 4. Okay, but you got to be careful there too because you got that minus sign in there. Okay, so we have plus 4, which gives me a horizontal translation. And again, so that I don't make a mistake about going left or right, I take that expression, -x plus 4, set it equal to 0, and I solve for x. So I'm going to have -x equals -4. Divide both sides by -1, and x is going to give me +4. Since it's a +4, that tells me I'm going to go right 4 units. The last thing, which is kind of one of the new things here in this particular problem that they're hoping that you grasp or understand, is that you have this negative, okay? And it's a -1, so the b is -1. which is going to cause, if we go back up here and look, a reflection on the y-axis. And again, when you're thinking about what does that mean in terms of the x and y, okay, that actually means, if you think about it, that you're going to be rotating around the y-axis. So that one's like a merry-go-round. You're going round and round and round and round on the y-axis. Okay, so I've got to go down 5, right 4, and reflect it on the y-axis. So let's go back over here and see what we can do. Okay, so we want to go right 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, down 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's get it where we can see it. And then we want to reflect it on the y. Okay, and so when you reflect it on the y, that's going to bring this point that's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're at 8, -2. And so we're going to bring it back over here to, let's see, 1, 2, 3, -2. We reversed it so that it went back to the other side. We can double check here. Think that's good. We reflected it. We went down 5 and right 4. Okay. So we're right. Okay. A lot of it's very visual, and so if you're perhaps not a visual learner, you might be struggling with it. Okay, let's do this one. Okay, again, I'm going to start out getting the two on top of one another. Okay, so that gives me kind of my starting point. And then we have the expression. We want to go from the f of x to f of 1/3 x minus 1 plus 1. Okay, and so let's go back over here and get me a clean sheet of paper. Okay, so we're going to get a clean sheet. And we have f of 1/3 x. Was it plus 1 or minus 1? Let me make sure. Okay, I want to make sure I do it right for you. Okay, minus 1 inside. Okay, so we have minus 1 plus 1. Okay, so again, if you think about it, what you have here in this particular expression is you have f of bx minus h plus k. And if you think about, again, the placement of those numbers, and when you're writing it out, it really doesn't matter which one you start with. Okay, so if we go to plus 1, okay, which is tagged at the end, that's your k, that's going to tell me to go up 1. That's your vertical translation or your vertical shift. Then I want to look at the minus 1 inside the parentheses. When it's inside the parentheses, that means it's going to be a horizontal translation. And I'm going to take 1/3 x minus 1, set it equal to 0. So I have 1/3 x equals 1. If I multiply both sides by 3, x equals 3. So my horizontal translation, because it's positive 3, is going to go right 3 units. And again that's kind of tricky because of the fraction in there. Okay, the fraction itself, when you look at the fraction itself, which is 1/3, is paired with the x, so that tells me there's going to be a horizontal, in this case it's a horizontal stretch, okay, because the value of b is less than 1. The rule says if the b if the absolute value of B is between 0 and 1, it's a stretch. It's a compression, okay, if the absolute value of B is greater than 1. And probably the best way to think about a horizontal stretch or compression is to think about an accordion, okay? When you play an accordion, you know, you kind of pump it in and out, in and out. And so it's a stretch if your B value is between 0 and 1, and that's like pulling your accordion out. And then if the absolute value of B is greater than 1, that's like pushing it in. Okay, so you can think about the horizontal stretch and shrink sort of like that playing an accordion. So in this case, the B is 1/3, which tells me there's going to be a stretch. And we're going to stretch it, so basically that is 3 times what it would normally be. Okay, and again, that may be hard to visualize here. Okay, so if you think about this point here, and you're initially at 5, or excuse me, at 4. So when you do that stretch, that's going to pull it outward. So we got to go from the center. We need to go up 3, up 1, and right 3. Okay, and then we've got to stretch this particular thing. So you want to make it about 1/3 its height. One of the things that I do, I kind of, especially with this value, think about it slow. If I go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I'm gonna get it. So let's see if I pull it down here to this one. Okay. I can then go up 1 and run 3. Okay. So that I get the point 7, 3. You're not gonna even check yourself. Okay. See what kind of answer you get. Let's say we have 1. So we have 1 over 3. Okay, so 1, we're going to go up 1 and over 3. Okay, so think you got it in the right place. Give it a check. Oops, it didn't like me. Okay, let's see. Okay, imagine it was right. We put it back where it should go. Okay, maybe I stretch it first. Okay, so I'm going to go 1, 3. Okay, so I've stretched it. And then I need to go up 1. Over 1. Okay, so let's see. Now let's try. Oh, still didn't like me. Okay, and since I was having trouble with this concept too, it's so challenging to figure out where you're going to put these dots. I kind of show you a little bit here, but again, let's see. It might be a benefit to help if I pick on some points. Let's see what they say down here. Okay, x minus 3, so we go shifted 3 units right, which is what we did, 1 unit up, and stretch by factor. Okay, so we went up 1, right 3. Okay, then. Okay, I'm kind of disagreeing with them because mine looks pretty close to theirs. A little bit off. I went 4. I see I went too many right here. I need to be backed up 1. Okay, having trouble counting squares on the computer. Okay. Let's see if they'll give us another one. Okay. that takes us back to one of the simple ones. You got minus 5. Okay, so minus 5 inside tells me I'm going to go 5 to the right. And then I'm going to go down 4. Okay. Okay, so I got that one right. Okay, so when you get all those transformations going on, I much prefer to actually have you draw it out than all this clicking and dragging, but you can't hardly do that. Okay, it said you got the red dash curve, okay, and you got to drag the movable points to get it to this. Okay, so this is, again, where you're going to reflect on the, let's see if we can get this one to, okay, where I can get it where it's on top of the red one. Okay, so that we can then kind of play with it. Okay, here's D. Here's C. Here's B. And here's close. A. Okay, so we got the blue one on top of the red one. And again, you've got the negative inside the parentheses with the X, okay? So that tells me we're going to reflect on the y-axis, okay? B, reflect on the y. Okay, so if A is at 4, positive 2, and we reflect on the y, okay, then it's going to become negative 4, positive 2. B is at 5, 1. So I'm going to end up at 5, negative 5, 1. C is at 6, 0. And D is at 7, negative 7. So we want to end up at negative 7. Let me see. Okay, so we moved all the points. And that may help you. It's nice that they've labeled them A, B, C, and D, and you can think about it. So I've got to reflect. So I'm going from the positive to the negative, positive to the negative, positive to the negative, positive to the negative. And then we submit. There you go. See if it'll give us another one. Okay, this is X minus 3 plus 4. Okay, so again, I'm going to get the blue one on top of the red one. We want to go minus 3 would tell me to go right 3 and then up 4. And that's it. Okay, I'm trying to find another one where they give us one that's got all of the stuff with it. Okay, so we go get the blue one on top of the red one. Minus 5 tells me to go right 5, plus 3, up 3. And again, those are fairly straightforward if you catch them. Again, I'm trying to get it to give us one that's got a shrink or stretch in it. Okay, this one you have negative. Okay, let me get it set. Okay. All right, you want to do the opposite of f of x. So the negative is on the outside, so you're going to reflect on the x. So in this case, you're at 1, 3, so we want to end up at 1, negative 3. We were at 0, 5, so we want to end up at 0, -5, or at 2, -5. Okay. Okay, if I put the green again on top of it, okay, and we want to do the -x, okay, and that's on the inside, so we're going to reflect on the y, okay, and so we're at -4, -2, so we want to move that to +4, 2. We were at -1, -5, so let's see. We want to be at -1, +5. Okay. All right. -x again. Okay. Get the green one on top of the red one. Okay. I think it's trying to teach me how to use these little dots, which is a little bit of a challenge. Okay. And we want to do -x. Okay, so we're going to reflect on the y. Okay, so I'm at 1, -5, so it's going to go to -1, -5. I was at -2, -4, so I'm there. We should be good. Okay, there we go. Let's go to another one. Hopefully it's going to get back to some of those with all the big combinations. Oh yeah, here we go. We've got 3 times f of x plus 4 minus 3. Okay, I'm going to write this one down so we can think about it for just a minute. Okay, I'm going to get us a clean sheet of paper. Well, maybe. Okay, we're going to get a clean sheet of paper. And we have 3 we have 3 times f of x. Let me go back and make sure I write it down right. Plus 4. Okay. Minus 3. So this would be like having a times f of bx minus h plus k. Okay, and so we know already, hopefully we still got it going on here, that the minus 3 is going to have us go down 3. The h, which is inside the parentheses, this plus 4, you do the opposite. So it's going to have me go left 4. And then the key thing here is with the 3, which is your A, 1, it's positive, so there's no reflection on X, but you do have a vertical stretch. Okay, of 3. So in a sense, the graph's going to appear to get taller, and as it gets taller, it appears to get what I call skinnier. That is not the mathematical term by any stretch of the imagination. Okay, so I'm going to set the graphs so that they match. All right, we're going to go left 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And we're going to go down 3, 1, 2, 3. All right, and then our other point, which was at 1, we now need to stretch it by 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay. There is no reflection here. Oh. Let's see. Okay, just went a little bit too far. Again, having trouble catching those points. Oh, I missed going down 4. Okay, I'm still just a little bit off with my points. Oh, I got it right the second time. Okay. I'm sorry. All right. Even without all the confusion, hopefully you can kind of get a sense of what's going on here. Okay. Maybe some of those examples will help. If not, I'll try to redo the video and we'll go from there.